What's going on, guys? My name is Wade with TechDaily, and in this video, we are checking out the brand new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra. Now, if you're familiar with your foldables, or just smartphones in general, then you understand that this is technically both the successor to last year's Z Fold 7 and a totally new product altogether. Okay, well, that second part is a bit of a stretch, but let me just quickly explain. Last year's Z Fold 7 looked very similar to this new Z Fold 8 Ultra. In fact, all the previous folds looked quite similar to this brand new one, but none of them were Ultra, even though a lot of us have sort of been asking for an Ultra foldable for some time. And rather than just giving us this one new Ultra foldable this year, Samsung also released the regular non-Ultra Z Fold 8, which is itself a totally new product. More than this for sure, with a unique passport-style design and form factor. So two new foldables now with crisscrossing naming schemes, where this new Ultra is more like the old non-Ultra, and the new non-Ultra isn't really like anything before it. Part of me thinks I may have just confused you all even more with this explanation, but that's the story with the folds this year. Also, there's a new flip too, can't forget about that one. Now, the big question is, well, what makes this an Ultra foldable now? Is it just an S26 Ultra with the foldable form factor? Well, not exactly. It's close, much closer to an Ultra S series than ever before, and this new fold packs a lot of fold-specific upgrades and enhancements that improve it and kinda sorta make it more Ultra in a foldable way. But there's like one or two things that still make this Ultra not quite as good as the S Ultra, and the best way I'd describe this new phone is exactly how I said it a moment ago. It is specifically an Ultra foldable and not an outright Ultra Samsung smartphone. There is obviously a lot to talk about here, and I'm gonna try and fill you in on everything you need to know. But first things first, let me just quickly unbox it and get it all set up, and then we'll get into all the dirty details. Slicing into the box here and sliding off the lid, the first thing you'll see is the phone itself, of course, unfolded and nicely protected. And that's actually the only thing in the box, but stuck inside the lid, there's still this little Samsung packet of stuff. There's a SIM ejector tool, a little pamphlet of setup instructions, and the typical USB-C cable for charging. And that is everything that's included with this phone. As we get it fully unwrapped and powered on, I do want to talk about pricing and how this phone stacks up against the other folds and flips in the lineup now. No surprise, this new Z Fold 8 Ultra is the highest end option with the biggest price tag. It starts at $2,099 with the option to spec up the storage for a few $100s more. It's $200 more expensive than the new regular or wide Z Fold 8 and like $900 more expensive than the flip. This is Samsung's most expensive phone for sure, but if you're watching this video before August 7th, which is the official launch date, or maybe even a few days afterwards, you can save a bunch of money with an elevated trade-in credit on your current device, $200 of Samsung store credit, or if you shop on Amazon, a $350 gift card can be yours if you pre-order this. So there are some ways to bring that price down quite a bit, and I'll leave those deals linked down below in the video description if you want to shop around. Now, for better or worse, at least at a glance, this new Z Fold 8 Ultra looks really similar to the Z Fold 7. It does or doesn't replace, however you want to look at it. This is Samsung's quintessential foldable form factor, an elongated 6.5-inch cover screen that serves as your first point of interaction, and then unfolding it, you're presented with a large 8-inch foldable flexible inner screen. They're both the exact same screen sizes and dimensions as last year. And even though this traditional fold has always looked a little funky, maybe too tall or too skinny, it's actually still shorter than the S26 Ultra, and its skinnier width and even slimmer thickness makes it pretty easy to use one-handed if you'd like. The bigger difference, obviously, is with the new shorter and wider regular Z Fold 8. That phone is a completely different form factor altogether. The complete opposite, you could say, but an interesting option nonetheless. While the outer display is essentially unchanged from last year, the inner display actually has a handful of hardware changes that should help visibility and durability quite a bit. For starters, this foldable screen now has an anti-glare coating. It's still a plastic screen, but the glare, to me at least, definitely looks like it's been cut down quite a bit, and enough to be noticeable. On top of that, Samsung also introduced what they call Flex Titanium technology. There's now 2 titanium layers within the folding screen that help reduce the visible crease, minimize the air pockets, and that should also increase its toughness in the long term. Is the crease less visible? Yes, absolutely. Will it stay that way after a few thousand folds? Well, I guess we'll all find out eventually. And one more thing, Samsung says this is now their brightest display ever, with up to 3000 nits of peak brightness. To me, all these new screen-related enhancements definitely say Ultra. Taking a peek at the rest of the phone, it's still crafted from a combination of Gorilla Glass Victus 3 for the front, Victus 2 around back, and the advanced armor aluminum frame and housing. IP48 dust and water resistance, no change with that. But for the hinge, Samsung says they made some minor improvements here to allow for easier opening. The edges, or the gap, is more refined to allow your fingers to get up in there and pry the phone open. The magnets are balanced a little better, and they did all of this while once again shaving off some thickness. It's the thinnest foldable ever, 1/10 of a millimeter thinner than last year. Taking a quick look around at everything else, there's nothing on the hinged side. On the opposite side, there's the volume buttons and the power button, which doubles as your fingerprint sensor. Up top, a collection of mystery holes surrounded by one of 2 loudspeakers and the SIM card tray. On the bottom, the other loudspeaker and the USB-C port for charging. 2 selfie cameras, one for the cover display and one off-center, the inner folding display, and then a slightly improved triple lens camera setup around back. This phone still supports both physical SIM cards and eSIM, no micro SD card support. And you saw earlier that you can spec it with either 256, 512 gigs, or up to 1 terabyte of storage. If you do opt for the 1 terabyte model, you do get more RAM, 16 gigs, compared to 12 gigs on the 2 lower configuration options like I have here. Now, I want to just quickly finish up the specs and information on these displays. Like I said at the start, the outer cover display is that elongated 6.5-inch 2520 by 1080 resolution screen with a 21:9 aspect ratio. It's a dynamic LTPO AMOLED 2X panel supporting up to a 120 Hz refresh rate, and it's a great initial impression when using this phone. Like I said, it's actually not as tall as it looks, and the fact that it's kind of skinny makes it maybe a little easier to hold and to use. But regardless of its shape, it's a full-on flagship level display from top to bottom, and just using this gives you a great view of whatever it is you're watching. But the star of the show, the whole reason you'd get a foldable in the first place, is the extra large 8-inch foldable display. It's also a dynamic LTPO 2X AMOLED panel with an even higher resolution than the outer screen, 2256 by 2504, and actually quite a few more pixels here than last year too. So tally one more upgrade over the Z Fold 7. It's still a 120 Hz refresh rate screen as well, and like you saw earlier, it's basically the brightest smartphone screen Samsung has ever offered at up to 3000 nits of peak brightness. The improvements here with the big folding display, including the minimal crease and enhanced durability, are significant enough to seriously consider this, even over last year's phone, but especially over a Fold from 2 or 3 years ago. These upgrades here, and the few more I'm about to discuss, do make this Z Fold 8 Ultra not just a better device versus last year, but a truly ultra foldable, like Samsung is suggesting. When it comes to the speakers, I love that these foldables have basically full-size ones on the top and bottom of what would be the traditional smartphone form factor. The only downside is that with the phone unfolded, you kind of lose track of where the speakers are, and things can sometimes sound one-sided. Or you might accidentally cover a speaker with your hands if you're rotating the screen around and lose track. Once you get used to that though, these are great sounding speakers that even cranked all the way up sound crisp and clear. As far as what's actually powering this Ultra, this is pretty straightforward. Samsung just stuck the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip into this phone. This certainly puts it in line with the S26 Ultra and the S series as a whole, and actually, this processor is also in the other Fold and Z Flip as well. So while it's great to have in this phone in particular, this doesn't explicitly yield you any unique ultra performance benchmarks. That's not a knock by any means, just a comparison. And with 12 gigs of RAM as standard, this combination of internal specs is certainly flagship caliber, but not over the top by any means. I think you'll still really enjoy using this phone though, especially with the big screen and Fold-specific software experiences that make this a productivity powerhouse, in addition to the perfect movie watching or doom scrolling companion device. But on that productivity point, unfortunately, Samsung did not bring S Pen support to this Ultra Fold or the other regular Fold, which, if all the online chatter is any indication, seems to be a big miss. I guess no one really expected a built-in S Pen. No official S Pen accessory support feels a little disappointing, especially when this is being marketed as an Ultra. I know Samsung has tablets to sell, but for this price and considering the new name, this is one of the most glaring omissions for hardcore Samsung users. If you aren't an S Pen supporter, then there's nothing to complain about performance-wise. And in fact, these new foldables got the new software updates even before the S series flagships did, which is wild. I have no doubt that this Fold Ultra, along with the other Fold and Flip, are the top tier, super fast, and performance-focused smartphones that Samsung promises them to be, considering the price and considering the hardware. Now, something we've all been clamoring for when it comes to new smartphones is bigger improvements to the battery, namely silicon carbon batteries, which are more dense and yield you a larger capacity, faster charging speeds, and better performance, and theoretically the same physical space, basically without making the phone any bigger or thicker. For this new Z Fold 8 Ultra, Samsung was careful in their wording. They didn't explicitly say that there's an all-new battery in here, but they did suggest that the battery now uses some silicon carbon anode materials, a first for their phones, to bump up the capacity to 5,000 milliamp hours, increase the wired charging speeds to 45 watts, give you a little more boost to the wireless speeds at 20 watts, all while keeping this phone thinner than ever, actually. So this is all great. Better battery life and a more durable, more reliable battery is something I think we can all appreciate, and the faster charging speeds are just a cherry on top. Perhaps this is even a glimpse into what we might expect for the next S-series phones, too. Finally, when it comes to the cameras, there's really two sides to this, and I want to make sure that I'm careful in my analysis. The rear lens setup on this new Fold Ultra has been improved, but it's still not in line with the actual Ultra phone, the S26 Ultra, and in fact, the camera upgrades might not seem as significant as you were hoping. The main rear lens is seemingly the same 200 megapixel shooter as last year. The telephoto lens seems to also be the same, with 3x optical zoom and 30x digital zoom. The ultra-wide is now in line with the S Ultra. It's an upgraded 50 megapixel, 120 degree ultra-wide that phone had. What's missing on the Z Fold Ultra is, well, everything else. There's no periscope telephoto zoom lens here. And the selfie cameras also weren't upgraded from last year. Now, this is not to say that you won't notice any improvements with your pictures and videos. In fact, Samsung explicitly says their software and visual engine should enhance your photos and videos quite a bit, especially with low light, photography, and image stabilization for video. And the couple dozen sample shots I've taken with this phone already do look really good. Flagship caliber for sure, and a far cry from years past where the cameras felt like an afterthought. But like I said at the start, the camera setup here is foldable ultra level, not smartphone ultra level. It's still a couple steps behind the S Ultra and probably some other big name flagship phones you're familiar with, but it's a couple steps ahead of the regular Z Fold and even further ahead of the Flip, so take that for what it's worth. While my initial impressions of this new Z Fold 8 Ultra are overwhelmingly positive, I think it's important to address the ultra elephant in the room. The improvements to the folding display, less crease, less glare, more pixels, and higher brightness, are all great. Probably the single most important combination of upgrades, since the folding display is the whole reason this folding phone exists. Toss in the 8 Elite Gen 5 processor, and your performance is on par to any top-tier phone you can think of right now. The battery boost is solid too, and technically, there's a camera upgrade sprinkled in. But while this Ultra shares the name or descriptor of the widely known highest-end S26 Ultra, this Ultra is still not technically that Ultra. If you can understand that not all Ultras are created equal, and that this folding Ultra is Ultra in its own Ultra ways, specifically pertaining to its foldability, then you'll be Ultra happy. If you're comparing this Ultra with the other Ultra, spec for spec, well, it's still not quite even. But I feel like you're then missing the point. But what do you guys think? Is this new Z Fold 8 Ultra enough? Will it be your next phone? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, of course. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video though. Be sure to follow TechDaily on Twitter and subscribe to the TechDaily YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys later.